Okay. So I don't know if anybody had a chance to look at the website, but there are several examples there now of different ways that you could do this, up through however far we got, I think verse 9 or 10, something like that. And so if you're trying to do this at home and you're still kind of like, all right, I kind of get it, but I'm not sure, second guessing yourself, you can go there. And two things I want you to see there. One is there are examples there so that you can work through. The other thing that I hope you see, I think there's 3 or 4 different ones there, is that you don't need to overthink the precision of it, right? I mean, you don't overthink it. If you were in a seminary class, you'd be doing this in Greek, and they would want all the dependent phrase, everything. I mean, but why? You don't need to worry about that. It would be great to get to that point. But what I want you to see is to be able to really just follow the main argument, right? So, don't overthink it. The point is to give you tools to take you from wherever you're at to the next level, right? Just continue to grow. There's a reason we don't go from first grade to high school, right? There's a whole process. We go step by step, building on what we've learned. So that's the first thing. And then for those of you who aren't using the website, there's a lot of information there. I kind of download what we've done here and upload the stuff there. So if you want a refresher or anything like that, you can review everything with the material that is on the website. So let me start by just asking, do you remember what we did last week? But was it helpful to you? Like, do you at least get the concept of what we're trying to do? Any thoughts, anything I can do to adjust how I'm explaining it to be more helpful?
I thought it was very helpful. I feel like putting structure to this and being able to but set aside a lot of the things that aren't to the point, but just supportive of the point is really helpful. That's kind of where I used to get lost, is in some of that. I don't want to call it minutia, that's not the right word.
No, I mean, all of that's important,
Right.
but you have to start with, okay, well, what's the main idea?
Yeah.
And then let's start getting into the meat on the bone
I
kind of
thought it
thing.
was very helpful.
Okay, good. We good? We ready to keep going?
Yes.
All right. Just be glad we're not doing Lamentations or something. So we got one chapter here. So, I think we left off at 10, right? We just finished 9? Or no, 9, right?
Yeah.
We started with but Michael, the archangel, right?
That's what I was gonna ask you, did you give out another literature? I did listen last night to, I actually started from 1 again and brought, to bring me back up.
Back up to speed.
I
I just passed out just the letter again, so all everybody has is the Jude.
Yeah, I got that.
So you got that?
Yeah, I got that, cause I was going through a lot of this.
Yep.
Okay, I'm with you there. I'm here.
But Michael, the archangel, when he disputed with the devil, again, you could put that on one line, but you could indent it. When he disputed with the devils, more information on Michael. And what would we do with and argued about the body of Moses?
That would be indented.
Yeah, it's the same as this, because what did he do? He did 2 things. He disputed and he argued. It's really the same thing, but it's kind of parallel, right? And argued with the devil. Okay? Did not dare pronounce against him a railing judgment. Where would that go?
Back out. That would go back.
Yeah. Did not pronounce. I can't even spell the word not this morning.
N-O-T.
Thank you.
T-O-N. Oh, yeah, there's
the K in them.
Lord have mercy on all of us. Okay, but said, the Lord rebuke you. Where's that go? Think about the rules for ands, and but.
You go out again, right?
Back to the outside.
Right. And is always equal, but is almost always equal. You do have to kind of look at it a little bit, but these men revile. Where's that go?
That's against, right? But you said these men rebound, but.
Right, so
I think it's left.
you think it's left? Well, let's read through it, right? I felt the necessity to write to you, for certain persons have crept in unnoticed. Now I desire to remind you that the Lord, after saving a people, subsequently destroyed those who did not believe, and angels who did not keep their own domain. He's kept in eternal bonds under darkness. Oh, he's kept them under. Yet in the same way, these men defile the flesh, reject authority, revile angelic majesties. But Michael the archangel did not dare pronounce against him a railing judgment, but said, the Lord rebuke you. And the things which they know by instinct, if you indented it, you wouldn't pick up that piece of the idea. But it's part of the argument, isn't it? What he's saying is, Michael did not dare pronounce a judgment, but said, the Lord rebuke you. But these men do revile, right? So it goes to the left. Does that make sense to you, Paul? I don't want to just.
Yeah, I was looking at the wrong button, sorry.
Oh. We're just gonna move on.
No, I looked at the wrong line, sorry. Which should have still been out.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
These and revile. Now you could put underneath it the things they don't understand, or again, you could put that right on this line. It depends on how you do it. Either way will work. And the things which they know by instinct. That will depend on what you just did with the other one, right? Because
It's connected.
it's connected. What is it connected to?
What they don't understand.
Yes. So and is always like a teeter-totter, right? So you have and in the middle. So whenever you get to an and you're trying to decide, like in a case like this, what is the and? What in what? What is it connected to? And that'll help you. So when I did mine, I put all of this on one line. And so the and would go right back out to the end, right? And the things which they know by instinct. So this, if you put this here like I did, then this goes. Like unreasoning animals. That's telling us something about these men, right? So, and this instinctual stuff, this is connected to instinct to be indented, right?
Right.
Okay? By these things they are destroyed. By what things?
I think that goes back to the left.
Yeah, I agree. By these things they are destroyed. So if we're reading tracing the argument here, he's talked about the archangel and all that, and then he says, but these men revile the things which they do not understand, and the things which they know by instinct. By these things they are destroyed. Okay, then verse 11. Woe to them. To the left, to the left. Slide to the left. Woe to them. Okay? For, would you move that to the left or would you indent that?
Which?
For they have gone the way of Cain?
Personally, I would indent it.
You would indent it? Somebody else said move it to the left? Who thinks we should indent it? Most of you? I think so, because this next chunk of stuff, for they've gone the way they came, is explaining why. Because for is telling you why something happens.
It's explaining the wall.
It's explaining the woe. For they've gone the way of Cain. For, therefore, because, those kind of things are trickier, because you really have to go, what is this a conclusion of? Is it the conclusion of the main line of thought, or is it a conclusion of one point in the line of thought? Okay, what about, and, well, if that's indented, then and, they pay, and for they pay, rush headlong into the error, for pay, they rush headlong into the error of Balaam would also have to be parallel to that, right?
So that's indented as well.
That's indented. So you can start to see there's some real, Deanne, going back to what we were talking about earlier, there's some real important parts of what he's saying that are indented. It doesn't mean it's less important. It's just not the main flow of the argument. It's the substance of the argument that's filling it out. Okay. And perished in the rebellion of Korah. Where does that go?
That would be indented also.
Right. And perished in the rebellion of Korah. These are the men. What is these? Who are these connected to? It's them. These are them.
Right.
These are them. You need to pray for the sermon this morning. I don't know what we're gonna do. Okay, so we'll start. We're out of room here. I think we need a new whiteboard. This thing is getting. I wonder how old this thing is.
The board,
The board. How long is that?
It's pretty old.
At least 20 years? Okay.
then
That-
it's good,
Huh?
then it's good.
Yeah, no, it's good, but it's getting hard to erase. These are the
That's what
men.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, you mean like that it's good? I might just need to like clean it with some pledge. Works good on whiteboards. These men revile the things. You can either say which they don't understand here, or you could put which they don't understand here.
Where are you at?
These are the men who
Where
are.
are
Hidden reefs.
Oh, wait.
We're on 12.
I looked at the wrong thing. Yeah, these are the men who are the hidden reefs. And then you could put it in your love feasts. That's what I was trying to say. You could put it here or here. And if I'm confusing you with telling you you can either do this or that, go look at the examples on the website.
So what is actually the whole,
Well,
Just
here's
because
why I put it all online, because really these are the men who are hidden reefs. In your love's feast is kind of completes that thought. So the clause are, these are the men who are hidden reefs, and you could say In Your Love Feast explains that, which is true.
Okay.
But because Hidden Reefs is like, not a literal, that's a metaphorical term, and In Your Love Feast is sort of completing that thought, I put it on one line. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I didn't put it on one line here because I ran out of room.
Because I think if you didn't add that in your love feasts,
It,
it wouldn't make sense.
right, if you say, but these men revile the things which they do not understand, and the things which they know by instinct, by these things they are destroyed. Woe to them, these are the men who are hidden reefs. We don't have enough yet, but as you start to go, you might go back and go, wait, what is that? That doesn't, it's not a complete picture. So I would put that whole line there. These are the men who are hidden reefs in your love feasts. But again, if you're doing this like Jim does, where he's literally breaking each clause down, then you're gonna have more indentation and it would go indented under there. It's hard, it just depends on your style.
I don't think I've ever heard of love feast.
On the website, there's an article that talks about love feasts.
Oh, yes, we did go to the website.
You go to the website. It's one of the, we identified a couple of cultural factors. So, him calling himself a slave or a bondservant was one, like that's not a common way we refer to ourselves. And then the love feast was another one where we gave some background. Okay. When they feast with you without fear, where's that go? Indented, okay, yep. Just so we're not confused, we're gonna.
Oh.
What is it now? When?
When they feast with you without fear.
When they feast without fear. Okay, very good. And, no, caring for themselves,
I would indent it.
indented under here, or keep it the same?
These are all the same, these are just multiple descriptions of the same thing.
Right, what is caring for themselves a description of? Is it a description of them being without fear or of the men?
No.
Okay, so
Without
caring
fear.
for themselves. Okay,
And then clouds without water.
where's that go?
Indented.
Same? Clouds without
Same.
water. Carried along by the winds, indented again. Why?
Because it's a little different.
It's about the clouds. It's a description of the clouds, right? Carried along. So here's another tip. When you get lists, like stacks of a description or a list, you want to make everything in that list, if everything in that list has equal weight, they would all be at the same alignment. So you could say they're clouds without water.
So why isn't that one indented more underneath the caring for themselves?
Because it's a different concept. Let's finish this section and I'll walk through what I'm saying, because it'll be easier once we have the
Okay,
whole
so
list.
so far you've got, except for the clouds, you've got them, or no, carried along by the wind. All the others are indented.
When they
to the
feast
same
with you
point?
without fear, caring for themselves and clouds without water are all at the same, are all indented once.
Okay.
Carried along by the winds is indented again. And then autumn trees without fruit, it goes back to the indent. Yeah. Doubly dead, uprooted,
That's the trees.
that's the trees, so it goes in
That
here.
would be indented.
Right. Again, right
So
up.
see, those types of outlines like that, you would re-indented because it refers to the prior.
That's right. Wild waves of the sea.
That would be-
That First
So-
indent.
one indent.
The uprooted though,
Refers to the tree.
it does, but I'm wondering if that, you could either say doubly dead, comma, uprooted, all on one,
On one,
a second indented line.
yeah, saying
Or
one
you could
rather
say
than.
You
double
could,
dead.
you could, we're making an interpretive sort of decision here. So one of the reasons I said don't get super hung up is because this is we're gonna piece together several things so that when you go through interpret, you may go, oh, wait, that's actually not saying this, that's actually saying that. But this is a tool just to get us started, right? To help us to kind of capture it. And so there's multiple. Here's the real secret to this. You know, I had somebody one time, I taught this class and it took, 4 months or something. And we were almost done and somebody came up to me in the hallway. It wasn't at this church, it was a different church. So, names will remain for. And they said, I really wanted to take that class, but I just don't have time. Can you just tell me really quickly? And so as a teacher, that's kind of offensive. Like it took us 4 months to work through the material. If I could tell you in 30 seconds, the class would have been 30 seconds long. So anyway, but I said, well, look, here's the key thing. Quit assuming you know what is there. Slow down and pay very careful attention to what's really there, and do that over and over and over and over again. So one of the reasons why I give you a checklist with 30 items on it is because you need to read the thing 30 times before you can have an opinion on what it means. Right? So every time, so here's what happens when people read. They're just in a hurry, they're going and grabbing whatever they can, whatever jumps out to them. But if you break the reading process down into, okay, I'm going to read this just looking for who's talking. Now I'm going to read it, what are they talking about? Now I'm going to read, how are they structuring the argument? Like, you're reading it over and over again, you're absorbing all kinds of other information, but you're more disciplined about putting things in whatever category they go. So that when you get done and you pull it all together, you're less likely to just throw things in the wrong spot because you go, wait a minute, no, that's not what that is. Do you see what I mean? So that's the essence of the class, is just slow down, read it over and over again carefully. And so don't be worried about, oh man, I don't know. Like, so here's what sometimes happens is like, and I used to do this early on, I'd just stop studying at that point. Like, I don't know if this goes here. I'm gonna get a sandwich. And then, it's like 3 days later before you try to go back to it. Don't do that because you're losing the flow of it, first of all. And secondly, just put a little note. If you don't know, just do this. This is what I do. And then I just keep going. So that later I can go back and go, okay, yeah, I wasn't sure about this, and after I've studied it more now, maybe I'll be in a better position to put it where it goes. So wild waves of the sea. We said that's indented, one indent. Casting up their own shame like foam. Double indent, casting up.
That was easy.
Okay. Wandering stars. Single indent. For whom the black darkness has been reserved forever. To the left. Or what? That's, where else might that go? It could be describing the stars. We don't know. I mean, I don't know.
But I think it's going back to the who, the whoa, these are the.
Right, so the question is the black darkness being reserved, does it make more sense for that having to do with wandering stars, which light up in the darkness, or does it make more sense that it is describing these men? Yeah. So I think that's probably right, but I mean it could be, and that's really the point, is you do have to make some decisions here. So here's what I wanted to say about the list. We're talking about these men, and what are we saying about them? That these men are the hidden reefs in your love feasts. And so what does that mean? What is that like going on here? They feast without fear, they care for themselves, they're clouds without water, autumn trees without fruit, wild waves of the sea, wandering stars, but all those have equal weight. That's one after another. Like, that guy's a this, and he's a that, and he's a so-and-so. Now, the things that are just giving you more information about those, like if he gave us that list without carried along by the wind, doubly dead, casting up like foam, you still get the point. It wouldn't be as descriptive, it wouldn't be as powerful, but you'd know, okay, they're wild waves, they're all over the place. So, if you're not sure, then you can look and go, well, is carried along by winds enough? Is that of equal weight with caring for themselves, clouds? No, right? So you can kind of double check these things. So now what we have, let's just read through the argument from the beginning. It's good to stop every now and then. Does this make sense? Beloved, I felt the necessity to write to you, for certain persons have crept in unnoticed. Now I desire to remind you that the Lord, after saving a people, subsequently destroyed those who did not believe, and angels who did not keep their domain he has kept in eternal bonds under darkness. Yet in the same way, these men defile the flesh, reject authority, and revile angelic majesties. But Michael the archangel did not dare pronounce against him a railing judgment, the devil, but said, the Lord rebuke you. But these men revile the things which they do not understand and the things which they know by instinct. And by these things they're destroyed. Woe to them! They are the men who are hidden reefs in your love feasts, for whom the black darkness has been reserved forever. Right? That's the argument. So we're in good shape.
Is that how you have it on the website?
Well, none of this is on the website. We didn't do it yet.
No, I mean the ones, the other examples.
Yeah. I don't know what you mean, Donnie. Exactly what do you
You said
mean?
you had examples of what we did last week.
Yes.
Is that how those are?
One of them is like this, one of them is broken down much finer, and one of them is just big by sentences. You can do it. That's what I'm saying. If you're somebody who's like, I can't, I just breaking it down into clauses, well, then at least do it by the sentences.
Well,
The
I looked
main
at them,
sen-
but I didn't have this.
I got it. No worries. It's, the answer is yes. I think I put 3 different examples on there, like 3 different approaches as to how fine-tuned you want to break it down. And then I believe I put an example of another passage on there, I think. That was a week ago.
Yeah, I think something from maybe First Peter or something.
Oh, it was First Peter, because I had that handy. Okay, so the next one is what? It was about these men?
Mm-hmm.
Where's that go?
To the left.
Right? It was about these men that Enoch in the 7th generation from Adam indented. Prophesied
To the left.
to the left. Saying, what did he say?
Behold, the Lord came with many thousands of his holy ones.
Right.
Let me see how fast you can read all that.
Behold. You could put all that on one, or you could put, that the Lord came, and you could indent with, behold, the Lord came.
You could actually do it 3 times, couldn't you?
You could, yes, you could. To execute judgment,
So we would have to indent, because that's what he came for.
Back to the left.
it would go to the left, because it's to execute judgment.
Would you include upon all?
You could put it here on this line, or you could put it this way.
Indented?
You could. The key idea is that it comes to judge.
Right, okay.
So you could do it this way, that would be right, but this is, if you're doing longer chunks, that would be fine. It's not adding a new point.
Right,
It's still that point.
okay.
Yeah, I'm not trying to confuse you, but there really is, you really are gonna kind of get your own style of it, of doing it. So that's why I'm trying to not make it seem like, oh, there's one right way to do it. And to convict all the ungodly. So what is that and paralleling?
Executing
Judge.
judgment.
Yep.
Judge.
So here's how you double check that, Sandy. If I say, it was about these men that Enoch prophesied, saying, behold, the Lord came to execute judgment and to convict the ungodly, does it make sense without this?
Yes.
It does, so that means you can indent that.
Okay.
If it doesn't, then it needs to go here. Do you see that?
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
Convict the ungodly of all their ungodly deeds.
Indented.
Indented, right? Which they've done in an ungodly way. Where's that go?
Actually, you could double indent that.
You could double indent that, which is, I think, what she meant. I don't. Done ungodly way. Oh, hey, I switched to the other color. I didn't mean to do that. I don't think it matters.
That's my sentiment.
And of all the harsh things which the ungodly sinners have spoken against him.
That's
Back
it.
out.
Single indent. Because the and is paralleling what? The ungodly deeds.
Convict? No.
If I said that behold, the Lord came to execute judgment and to convict all the ungodly and of all the harsh things which the ungodly sinners have spoken against him, that doesn't make sense, does it? No. But if I say that he came to convict all the ungodly of all their ungodly deeds and of all the harsh things which they've spoken, does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's where it goes, and of all the harsh things.
So, back to a single indent, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Again, I think it's easier, even if you're not thinking in terms of the pieces of the clauses. If you read those indents along, where you've got them, if it's making sense, you're probably on the right track, right? If something's way out, you're gonna go, I missed something.
So if it doesn't make sense, you've got it in the wrong place.
Yeah, most likely. Now, again, this is one look at it. So something could make sense that shouldn't be there, and what that would do is cause you to put undue emphasis on something that really wasn't part of the main point. But when we do the other pieces of the tools, you're gonna be able to look back and go, oh wait, that doesn't go there. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Of all the harsh things which they said against him, these are grumblers.
That's back to the left.
To the left, yep, these are grumblers.
Okay, I missed something. What did you do with that last phrase there? Which ungodly sinners have spoken against him?
Well, I put it on the same line. I put it on the same line, which is single indent.
Oh,
Here's
okay.
why. If I say that he came to convict the ungodly of all their ungodly deeds and of all the harsh things, you're not really capturing the idea. It's the harsh things they've said. So that's what you want to make sure that whole idea goes there.
Right.
Well, let me just pause here. Is this making, I want to make sure I'm not confusing people. I know it's a lot to, if you've not done this before, it can be a lot to kind of like take in. You good, Bobby? Kind of? You're giving me the I'm good, like I don't know, but I think I'm good. I'm not trying to pick on you. Good? I want to explain this as clearly as I can. Is it
Good
confusing?
as a group, just wondering if I would be able to do it alone, which I'm gonna try this week.
Yeah.
Because here, it seems like it flows, but when I get home and I'm disconnected, I don't know if it'll feel the same way.
Yeah.
It's easier to bounce off each
Yeah,
other.
yeah, and to keep the flow going amongst us, and as you're giving little examples, like when you said with the execute judgment in that line, the difference, so that made it understandable, but when I get home and all that's back here, it's like I'm worried I won't be able to
Yeah,
do
so
the same thing.
So it's sort of like, driving too, right? Like when you first start driving a car, shouldn't be messing with the radio. Well, you probably shouldn't anyway, but you shouldn't be messing with the radio and all that. But as you get more experience, it's just it's more comfortable, right? And so it is not going to be super easy to do the first few times,
Right.
but it will never get easier to do if you don't do it.
Try it,
And so how do you know, I'm sorry. So how do you know if you're right?
because it flows.
If it sounds good, if it sounds right?
Yeah, I think if you go back, there's two ways you're going to know it's right. The sort of first check is read through those things that are indented to the left. Does that make sense? If somebody just gave you that, would you say, yeah, that's a pretty good summary of the book?
Yeah.
And then when you're getting into the indented stuff, are all these things of equal weight that are indented? And again, how you do it is going to affect how much detail you
So
have there.
would you say this is similar to homiletics? Or no?
Well, homiletics is preaching, is putting together the information in a form of a sermon. What we're doing is exegesis, and we're basically right now just looking at what's the skeleton of this book. It's sort of like this, like, when you work for a place, like they do a lot of things, right? Every company does a lot of things. But if you're stuck in an elevator and somebody goes, hey, what does your company do? You have that, like that 2-sentence, that's what we're looking for. If somebody says, hey, in like 3 sentences, tell me what Jude's about, that's kind of what we're getting to. It's the structure around which the whole book is based. What is the point? And so let's go and just read what's to the left to show you. And I've been doing this as we go. But does this make sense? Does it make sense? And you have read the book a couple of times. Not only does it make sense logically by itself, but does it make sense logically by itself and fit with what you recall the book kind of saying? Jude, to those who are called, may mercy and peace and love be multiplied to you. Beloved, I felt the necessity to write to you, for certain persons have crept in unnoticed. Now I desire to remind you that the Lord, after saving a people, subsequently destroyed those who did not believe, and angels who did not keep their own domain, he's kept in eternal bonds under darkness. So far he tells them who he is, why he's writing, there's a warning, and this all makes sense, right? It's all flowing so far. Yet in the same way these men, so when you get to something like that, you go the same way as what? Do I have stuff over to the left earlier than this that tell me? Absolutely. The same way as what? The people who were destroyed after coming out of Egypt, these angels, all that. Yet in the same way these men defile the flesh, reject authority, and revile angelic majesties. But Michael the archangel did not dare pronounce against him a railing judgment, but said, the Lord rebuke you. So these guys are taking upon themselves authority that even archangels do not have. Do you see that? It's flowing through this argument pretty logically. But these men revile the things which they do not understand and the things which they know by instinct. By these things they are destroyed. Woe to them! These are the men who are the hidden reefs in your love feast, for whom the black darkness has been reserved forever. It was about these men that Enoch prophesied, saying, behold, the Lord came to execute judgment and convict all the ungodly. These are the grumblers. Do you see what I'm saying? It flows pretty logically. If we took one of those things out of there, you hit kind of a point where you get to the next thing and you go, wait a minute. For example, if we took out this piece about Michael, the archangel, and we jumped from, he's kept in eternal bondage in the same way as these men defile the flesh, reject authority, revile angelic majesties, but these men revile the things which they don't understand. The but doesn't make sense. But what? What is it being compared to? Do you see what I'm saying? Like you just missed something and you're going, wait a minute, what happened?
Yeah, so far you go through what we read, you know what the letter
Is saying.
is saying, what it's covering.
It's the main, that's the main argument. That's the structure, or that's what's moving the argument forward. He's gonna give us, I mean, he gave us a lot more information,
Yeah,
but, you know,
a lot more detail. To
Right.
take some of the detail out, get the main point.
right, it's like the difference between, and we're out of time, it's like the difference between, you know, if Beth asked me, hey, where is Abby? And I said, oh, I sent her to the store to pick up some groceries, we needed some milk and bread and eggs. That's fine, but if I just said I sent her to the store, she's got it. That's what we're saying. What we want is, I don't need to know what she's getting. She went to the store. That's what we're trying to figure out. What's Jude saying? What happened? What's the main idea here? And we'll fill in all the rest of that detail, which is very important, but we'll fill that in afterwards. You know what I mean? Are we good? Have a blessed week.
Do you think it would be okay to paraphrase it afterwards?